Winnipeg, Manitoba, where the Canadian Shield ends and the prairies begin. From up here, it's scenic. But as you start to come down, the city shows its dark side.
Right here, this is what they call red block. This is red block. It's very, till this day, gang orientated. You know what I mean? This is a very dangerous neighborhood at nighttime.
Winnipeg has the largest urban Indigenous population in the country, and police sources tell APTN there's approximately 40 street gangs that operate throughout the city. They're largely Indigenous-led.
I mean, there's obviously like a few different kind of gangs that, you know what I mean, I don't want to speak of, but like, you know what I mean, it was just like gangland over here, you know what I mean? Like there was wars, there was like, you know what I mean, there was shootings, there was stabbings.
Random attacks and extreme violence on the streets.
Yeah, that's what they call me, ninja, you know what I mean? Like I know how to fight, trust me, 'cause I was violent, you know what I mean? I would stab you, I'd bite your ear off if I have to, you know? But like, it's not the life.
Few know how gangs operate more than Terrence Morin. Morin is an Anishinaabe and grew up in Winnipeg's west side. It was there that he became a gang member. He'd only been out of the life for 6 months when he agreed to take APTN around the inner city this past September.
Like I was a striker, I had to do everything. I was striking for 5 years. Basically, like I was a soldier. You know what I mean? I was a troop. You know what I mean? Like I was trying to be Master Shredder, but I was one of those little foot soldiers for the longest time. It goes various though, because other gangs are different.
The Manitoba Warriors, Indian Posse, Native Syndicate, Indigenous street gangs that have risen up in Winnipeg over the years. As a striker, Morin was at the bottom of the gang hierarchy.
Then there's a patch, right? A patch means like you go it up, so it's like you have more. You kind of have guys that are like under you. You know what I mean? So you have a set of strikers that are loyal to you. So you have that responsibility. You have to vouch for them. You have to make sure they hand out an order that's handed out. But I didn't last long on the street, majority of the times.
Why?
Because I had to go follow orders, or I had to go sell drugs, or you know what I mean? Violence. I was a violent guy, but I didn't have serious violent charges until I got incarcerated. I got more violenter inside the system than on the street.
Morin says a lot of the gang activity in the streets of Winnipeg is controlled from inside jails and prisons. Shot callers on the inside, giving orders from a phone.
The environment is dangerous. You know what I mean? You got killed. I'm in there with the killers. I'm in there with dangerous sex offenders. I'm in there with high-ranking gang members, like guys that killed guys in the pen, guys that killed guys on the street. You know what I mean? So it's like you got the worst of the worst in there. You know what I mean?
How'd you survive?
Sleeping with my shoes on and sleeping with my shank every night. You know what I mean? It's a chameleon. You know what I mean? Like, one of my names was called Ninja. You know what I mean? So I put my ninja mask on and then, I blended in. I moved like a ninja, you know?
Winnipeg has the highest rate of violent crime across the prairies. It's often called the murder capital of Canada. Underlying social issues that the city can't seem to address. And it's been a deadly summer on the streets.
We've had a really rough summer in Winnipeg. There's been a lot of violence. Some of it's been random and unprovoked, and I worry. I worry about how chaotic things are today.
Let's bring the wagons out.
Mitch Bourbonnaire is a community outreach worker. He grew up in Winnipeg and has seen how things have changed since he was a kid.
It's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy out there, and the age of kids getting involved in gangs is a lot younger, and it's the younger guys that get taken advantage of by the older guys.
Bourbonnaire has spent much of his career counseling and supporting at-risk youth. He said it's important to understand the root causes of the violence. Colonialism, residential schools, the 60s school, government policies that have trapped Indigenous people in poverty.
Okay, let's pull it out a little bit more.
We have a lot of young people that are born into wounded families and wounded situations, and I'm not assigning blame at all, because it's there's a history in this country of colonialism and suffering, and there's a consequence to that, and the consequence to that is generationally wounded people. And we have young people being born into some pretty wounded, chaotic situations, and they're often running.
The older guys would get out of jail and they'd be like, "Have you been to jail yet?" And they're like, "No." And it's like, "Oh yeah, okay, well, it's time for you to go." And I would just do a lot of things that everybody else was doing, and it was just part of the environment, part of your circumstances, and that's the way I grew up.
We meet up with Jeremy Raven, another longtime gang member. He was raised in Winnipeg's impoverished North End. He didn't grow up looking to make the NHL. It was about going to jail. And the big leagues was maximum security prison.
That's something that I wanted to do. As senseless as it seems, that was the thing to do.
Go to jail.
Yeah. So, I did everything I could to, try and gain that respect within the community, with the friends I was involved with, and, I was making those destructive lifestyle changes and finding myself running into problems with the law.
When did it become too much for you? Like when you're in there, it's like, okay, I don't want to be in here anymore. Was there one of those moments for you where it's like, okay, enough of this being in this small cement cell?
The last time, and I got into heavier drugs, and it started affecting me, and just seeing a lot of friends overdose in jail. So, I wanted different for me, for my family, for my kids. I don't want anybody following in those footsteps.
Today, Raven runs this sober house for other men trying to stay on the path of sobriety.
It made me who I am today,
Who are you today?
Jeremy. Just Jeremy. A father figure, a brother, a son. I just want to be that person. I don't want to have to look over my shoulders. I just want to, do what I'm doing and, enjoy life on life's terms.
Oh, just come up here. This is Broadway in Langside. This is right here. This building, we're on 212 Langside, this building. This is where it all. I used to live on the second floor. Right here, this first suite right here.
With the windows open or one
Yeah,
below it?
yeah, right there.
With the window open?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was your place?
Yeah. I was 11 years old. No, 10 years old when I first moved here. Look at, they got cameras here now. Before, they never had cameras here. They'd be like, you know, over here too, there'd be, don't we, gang members all down the street, even back there. You know what I mean?
It's still the same kind of life here?
Still the same lifestyle here, right? So like, this is the hood. This is one of the hoods in Winnipeg. This is West Broadway.
Terrence Morin takes us through the old neighborhood. We approach Portage Avenue. It looks like any other busy city street, but it served another purpose.
So right here, this was like the borderline right here. So now you got other gangs on this side. So you know what I mean? Like I told you, some guys would stay on that side, some guys would stay on this side. So this is like the borderline. You know what I mean? I remember I got robbed right there by gunpoint, right in that lobby, right there. With a shotgun, right to my face. Boom. Yeah, I came here one day. It was, you know, it's called a chop. Come and see, bust a chop. See a customer. I come in one day. I come to this building. I go into the lobby, and it was like, sometimes you call them pirates. You can call them pirates. The guys just preying on other gang members, or just regular guys just want to rob drug dealers too, right?
Like stick-up kids?
Yeah. So like I come and do my thing. I come into the lobby. I'm buzzing the number in. I see behind me guys walking across the street really fast. I come in and I'm like trying to get into the building as fast as I can. And then I see guys come out of the elevator. And then I see them like, you know what I mean? They're like, you know, gang oriented stuff, right? So like this building was like gang members and shit, and like drug dealers and stuff like that. So like, anyways, I get a gun pulled on my face right in the lobby, like, you know, like, give me your shit. So like, I'm scared for my life, you know what I mean? I wasn't trying to die for, you know, a couple grams of crystal meth and shit. So I gave him my stuff, you know what I mean? And that was it. My heart was pounding. It was a scary situation. It was you know, life changing, I guess, right?
According to Morin, the gang activity in Winnipeg has only gotten worse. And with fewer resources and solutions available to address the issue, he fears more of the city's vulnerable youth are destined for the same dark path he once walked.
You don't have a strap? You need something like that in the city if you're about that life.
This is Winnipeg's North End. It's a community known for its poverty. It can be violent, but there's also hope.
Hey, are you ready? Yeah, we're ready. My shadow's in here. Okay, now hang on a second.
Your shadow's everywhere.
These people walk the community, picking up garbage, handing out sandwiches and bottles of water to whoever wants them.
Hi.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Can you get these?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, awesome.
And there's a familiar face in the crowd. He used to work these streets selling drugs, but not anymore.
It's pretty much all we do. We just walk.
Yeah.
This is the life. This is the life now. No, giving back to the community. This is it.
Terrence Morin says he's now a spiritual gangster, along with his friend, Tim Barron.
Yo, I've never been on this way.
Oh yeah.
Really?
We come from the other way though.
Oh yeah.
Barron is also a former gang member, who was taking Morin under his wing.
Today I found my purpose in ceremony. You know, like that's all I do is ceremony. I live in a ceremonial life. I come from a ceremonial family, and I didn't know that. Like my dad's side, like until I started going to school. And then I ended up meeting one of my instructors, ended up being my cousin. And then he took me out to where my grandma's from on my dad's side. And all my family out there is all ceremonial. So it's like, it's helped me, find myself and find my spirit.
As a child, Barron moved around a lot throughout Winnipeg. And when his parents divorced, things took a turn for the worst.
Well, my parents, they broke up, and then I got introduced to drugs and alcohol. And then that's where, I didn't see at that time that them breaking up on it, because I was really close with my mom, because there was bond there with me and my mom. I didn't know I couldn't deal with my hurt that was inside from her leaving, and I felt like she left me and neglected me and abandoned me. So I went to drugs and alcohol. I ended up starting my journey with that and street life.
Barron also turned to gangs to fill that void, going in and out of jail where he'd find himself alone and abandoned again.
I felt welcome in the beginning, I felt like a brotherhood. But then, later on, after that stuff, I didn't feel the love when I was in the jail cell by myself, really. Nobody really answered their phone except for my family.
In the end, it wasn't worth it. By the time he figured that out, Barron had a lot of work to put in.
I felt that neglection and that abandonment, and I didn't think I was good enough. Also being a father, not seeing my kid for 8+ years, and I felt like I wasn't good enough for anybody, eventually, and I just went down a straight dark road for a very long time, and then, I'm not to say that abandonment still comes back, because when somebody says they're going to be there for me and they're going to pick me up at this time, and they're not there, I still feel that abandonment, except for I can deal with it in a healthy way today.
Childhood trauma is something that keeps coming up. And for former gang members like Terrence Morin, it became normalized.
I see my mom get beaten, until she was just on the ground crying, unconscious, right? You know what I mean? I seen my mom, drinking, taking pills, drugs. Just a very, and then that's I'm trauma. That's trauma, right? Isn't it? You know what I mean? Growing up, seeing that my whole life, thinking that that's how we're supposed to live. That's how we're supposed to be, right?
Mitch Bourbonnaire sees the pain, the violence, but he wants to focus on the good.
The need in the community is overwhelming. I refuse to be pessimistic. I think the world, in some ways, is getting tougher and tougher and tougher, but in some other ways, it's getting better and better and better. And so, for every heartbreaking story I see stories of triumph as well.
He points to Tim Barron, Jeremy Raven, and Terrence Morin. They are the role models for youth today that they each never really had.
6 months out of it, right? Where do you go now?
Just carry on with my life, try to do the best I can do, right? So some days are hard, but then I remember the days that were harder than just a simple tough day of, you know what I mean? I have more good days than bad days because I'm free. I have resources to help me, positive resources. You know what I mean? So all I see is my future only getting better and worse from where I came from. I just had long hair. I cut my hair. I offered it to a fire because they knew me.
Knew you?
It was like a ceremony. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So this is a new me. I'm reinventing, building new character, I guess, right? Because my long hair has secrets. I've seen some things. I had long hair up to there. You know what I mean? So I cut it. This is a new chapter in my life.
How long ago was that?
My hair?
Yeah.
5 days ago. I was at a ceremony. I got, my Aboriginal name, my Gritita name. So it meant something to me. So this is a new me. You know what I mean? And I believe in that, right?
In telling their story, the 3 former gang members have a message for any at-risk youth caught up in the street life. Something they wished someone said to them.
That's not the life, right? It's not the lifestyle you want to live. Maybe for the second you think you do, but once when you get into that cell and you get a lengthy sentence, you're going to realize that it was all a mistake. You know what I mean?
I would just say to keep an open mind, because I'm just saying it's not a good life because I lived it. I experienced all that stuff, selling drugs, being a part of the gang life, dropping out of high school because I wanted to make money, fast money, in and out of jail. That stuff's not worth it, man.
Get involved in sports, finish school, find the motivation to hang on to something and just keep moving forward. Because it does get better. The things that we may have went through as children, adults, that stuff can heal.
So you guys had a chance to see what the guys had to say, and what do you think about that? What do you think about those messages you heard from those men?
They get involved in the sports.
Yeah, sports in school. I think
school, finish school.
Yeah.
Hearing that, just it's good to hear. A lot of the youth need to hear it too.
Yeah.
Need to get out there.
The Distel case does not draw any lines between Canadian Synex and American Synex. And I know there's a lot of information flowing around this community in particular, drawing lines that, in my respectful view, should not be drawn.
We have to re-inform people, oh no, we're still extinct. It's not done. I'm just upholding my responsibility. I'm following the traditional laws, like the old gals told me to do. I have spent decades educating the public about the Synex.
This has already been proven by your own Supreme Court. It should be just Prime Minister says yes. The problem is the Canadian government's in truth and second reconciliation stage, and they don't want to have those hard conversations. They don't know how to handle this.